A few months ago, I made a video on how to manifest your ex back. Since then, I have had numerous requests from people saying the way that you now present, the way that you now teach is a lot more structured and a lot easier to follow. Please, could you redo that video? So I am here today to help you manifest your ex back, not only using what I have learned from coaching many clients and getting many successes, but also in the new way that I like to present, in the new way that I like to structure, and overall just make this video a much better video. I'm going to do it in the format of like bullet pointing things in that you need to remember and to keep in mind along the way. And then at the end, I'm going to give you one big thing that basically says from point A to point B, this is how you manifest your specific person back. So stick around if you are interested in finding out. Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Matthew and I'm here today to talk to you about how you can manifest your ex back. But before we get into that, if you are in need of any of my services and you want to be the next success story in this field of manifesting an ex back, check out the description or the comment section. A link to my website will be there. I'm happy to help you guys and I'll see you there if you're interested. With that said, let's get into this really long video. The first step is to stop referring to them as your ex or as someone you used to be with or anything like that. In the law of assumption, you get what you are, do, or have, not what you want. If they are your ex, you are going to get more of that. So an easy way to tackle this is to come up with another term for them. It could be a pet name, it could be just a specific person, it could be my love or anything along those lines. Anything that implies that they are yours now is a better term to use for them than ex or someone you used to know or anything like that. Because if you are seeing them as your ex, whatever these, if you are referring to them as that, you are by definition saying, I do not have this person. In the law of assumption community, we understand the power of referring to things as though you already have them. When coming to me or writing in comment sections or anything like that, stop putting the term ex. Just say my person or my love or anything along those lines. It may seem like such a subtle change, but even just that change on its own could potentially help get you into the state more than enough to be able to manifest them in. Because if you are saying my ex, someone that I'm not with anymore, anything along those lines, that is you being in the state of not having them. Every time you say those kinds of terms, that is you in the state of not having. So to tackle that, just say my person, my love, anything like that. That will help get you in the state a little bit more often. On top of trying to change the way that you refer to them, I understand that sometimes you can't help it. I understand that sometimes people like your friends or family will say, how are you doing with the breakup? Or how are you and XYZ today? I understand that sometimes people like to talk to you about the situation that you are in, and it's difficult to refer to them as your love or your person because I understand that you might feel stupid in the time or that they won't understand and that they'll judge you. I completely understand that. In those moments, it would be my advice to simply say, I don't want to talk about it, or things are going okay, or anything along those lines. Don't verbal diarrhea everything and go, oh, we're not talking, they don't love me, they don't this, they don't that, I try to reach out and they don't want me, I don't feel like I'm good enough, why didn't she love me, why didn't he love me, we had plans. Don't start getting like that. Simply just say, I don't really want to talk about that right now. The reason being is it may feel good in the time to let it all out and to kind of sit in a bit of a victim state. You might not want to feel rude or anything like that by saying, look, I don't want to talk, but it is vital that you don't dwell in the old story and you try your absolute best to shift the focus away from what has happened onto either the current moment and just say, look, I don't want to talk about it right now. Why don't we go do something? Or onto the future. So you could literally, if they're more supportive of the idea of you two being back together, you could be like, oh, I don't really want to talk about that right now, but things are going okay. And then they'll kind of just hopefully leave you alone. You owe it to yourself to not engage in these things. If you really want your person back and if you really want to have this loving, fulfilling relationship, talking about it, dwelling in it, referring to them as your ex, talking to your mum about how this person didn't love you anymore, all of those kind of things are only going to hurt you more. they're only going to keep you in your circumstances for longer. This isn't to say that if you are to speak about them as if they are your ex or anything along those lines, that you have absolutely ruined your manifestation, because that isn't true either. If you have to have a conversation and you have to sort of say like, oh, they don't love me, or they said they don't love, anything along that, that is okay, because circumstances don't matter and you can switch it around. The only thing that it's going to do is keep you in your circumstances right now for a little bit longer. You cannot halt or stop your manifestation unless you fully give up. And even then, you hear many stories about people who have given up, and that's when their thing comes in. So even giving up in some examples does still get you your desire. So don't beat yourself up if you have to speak about it, or if you do accidentally refer to them as your ex, or if you do get into a bit of a victim state for longer than you would have liked to. Do not beat yourself up. Get back on your game, get back on your wish fulfilled, and continue to live in the end knowing that it is coming. The second thing, and this is probably one of the most important things to do when manifesting a person or anything in general, is to get deeply clear on what it is you want. Most people come to these videos just wanting their person to not be gone. They might not even necessarily want to be with their person, they just don't want to be without them, if that makes sense. So the first thing to do is to get deeply clear on what it is that you want. Do you want love and passion? Do you want to be with them every day? Do you want to live together? Do you want them to treat you a certain way? And if so, what is that certain way? The reason being is you can manifest your ex back, but if you aren't clear on what a successful ex back manifestation is for you that would make you happy, they might come back in, but they might be hot and cold. They might be distant. They might be too smothery and you don't like it. Like, you don't know until you get clear on what it is that you want from them and that what you want from the relationship. Do you want fun? Do you want to be able to joke and like bully each other a little bit? Do you want to be able to be friends without there being any kind of problems? Do you want them to have their own goals that they can bring you along with? Like anything. Literally get a pen and paper and write out a list of everything that you want to happen in your relationship that would determine whether or not it is a fulfilling relationship for you. The clearer you get and the more fulfillment you can receive from this ideal relationship, the better your manifestation is going to come in and the more fulfilled you're going to be in the long run, thus making you happier in life overall. Getting clear is such an important thing, because if you just go at it and go, I want them back, I want a relationship with them, that relationship could be good, bad, distant, too smothery, it could go wrong. It could be a relationship by definition, but it might not be what you want in a relationship. Now you must identify what kind of individual you would be if you had that relationship. And the way that I always recommend is asking yourself that question: how would I think, feel, and act if I had my desire? So a couple of examples of this would be, how would I think? So if you are with your specific person and part of your fulfilling relationship is that you like to do a date night every other Saturday, when it comes up to a Saturday, start to think as though you are going on a date with them. Start to feel as though excitement for the date that you're going to be on with them. Or start to, maybe even just pick out a dress or a suit or an outfit for your date with them. It doesn't have to be anything too extensive. You could literally just look in your closet and go, I can wear that for when I go on the date with this person. Anything along those lines. The idea of this is it gets you thinking, feeling, and acting from the end as if you were already with them. And like I said earlier, you get what you are, do, or have. So if you are in this relationship and you are going on a date on Saturday, because in your fulfilling relationship you have a date night every other Saturday, then you would be looking at what kind of outfits to wear. You would be getting excited about the Saturday, and you would be thinking about what you're going to be doing with them on the Saturday. This is just an example. Anything that within your list of fulfilling relationship you could think from, feel from, and act from, try to implement those within your lives. This gets you into the state of the wish fulfilled and is more effective at keeping you there because you are thinking, feeling, and acting from it. Instead of just affirming that I have this thing, and then as soon as you stop affirming, going out into the rest of your life, this is actively planting you as if you are in that thing right now. So ask yourself that question: how would I think, feel, and act? Write out a list of the thoughts, the feelings, and the actions that you could take in this very moment that wouldn't be you overly reaching out into the 3D. For example, just because you would text them if you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you should be texting them and bothering them now if you guys are in no contact. Do things that won't affect your manifestation from a sense of overstepping and desperation and seeing if it's happened yet. An extremely key factor of manifesting your specific person back or in if they are a new person is your self-concept. Everyone is you pushed out, which means the way that you view yourself, the way that you believe yourself to be true, is exactly how the world around you will operate and will see you. A lot of times, people lose their partners or struggle to manifest them in because they don't feel worthy enough of having this individual. Their self-worth is so low that they start to think that this person is above them. And due to everyone as you pushed out, 9 times out of 10, the person will leave thinking that I just don't want this relationship anymore, or it's not for me, or so on and so forth. If you work on your self-concept, if you start to see yourself to be this amazing person, start to see yourself as worth all of the love, start to see yourself as someone who deserves the very best, who only ever receives the very best, who is unique and special and worth the effort and deserves to be prioritized, all of those kind of things, because everyone is you pushed out, this will reflect onto your specific people, like whether it's friends, family, partners, anything, and people will start to treat you better. People will start to see you as more valuable. But when you have a low self-concept, when you have a self-concept that isn't of I deserve this or anything like that, you are operating from a point of this is above me and thus I don't deserve it. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you get what you are, do, or have. So, if you are not worth this relationship, the universe or your subconscious mind or whatever term you like to use is going to push out an experience that proves to you that you are not worth this thing. The subconscious mind only knows what you feed it, and pushes that out to show you what you are showing it. The outside world is merely a reflection of the inner world. Everything that you experience is down to you. It's down to the inner world that you have dwelled in, within the inner thoughts, assumptions, self-concept that you have assigned meaning to and to be true to you. So if your person has left you, it is not random. It is coming from a state of you have either dwelled in the idea of them leaving you or you breaking up for far too long and assigned it to be true to you, or you don't feel like you are worthy of this relationship, or you feel like you aren't a priority or anything like that. And your subconscious mind pushes that out and says, oh, you don't feel like you're worthy. Here's proof that you're not worthy. Because of that, when you feel worthy, when you manage to switch it around and feel like you deserve the world, like your partner worships the ground you walk on, that you deserve the absolute best, like no one compares to you, your subconscious mind is going to go, oh, this is what you're showing me. Let me give you experiences to prove that this is true. That is then what helps friends and family, specific people, managers, anything like that, then start to treat you better. Self-concept is amazing for manifesting your specific person back, but it is amazing overall because it will help you get a much better life just in general. And when you have a much better life overall, you find it a little bit easier to let go of the need for specific things to happen, which helps them come in easier, which we will get onto in a bit. It is vital, along with everything else that I've said and I'm going to say, that you let go of the old story and of the current 3D reality. Things were good, you started thinking and feeling bad, things went bad. If you manage to reverse engineer that, things are bad, you start thinking and feeling good, things will turn to the good. The more that you are able to let go of the old story, to let go of anything that was said and done, the sooner and the easier you are going to be able to embody the state of having this relationship, this loving, fulfilling, passionate relationship. Everything that you are experiencing now is just a manifestation of old thoughts. So if you are able to look past the current reality and the old reality or the old story, you will be able to dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled much easier, thus bringing it in much more effectively. I have just done a video on how to look past a 3D reality, but for the sake of this video, I will briefly go over it again. If you try to change what has happened and change what is happened by focusing on it and trying to improve it that way, you are only caging it more, thus experiencing more of it. If you are able to look at the 3D circumstance and go, I see what you show me, However, this is not true for me because I am, and then whatever it is that you are trying to manifest, your loving, fulfilling relationship, you are setting it free. You are saying, I don't care what you show me because for me, this is the state that I dwell in. You won't care about these intrusive thoughts or the things that are playing out in the 3D if you are in the state of the wish fulfilled. Things don't concern you. Third parties don't concern you, or anything like that won't concern you if you are already having your person. This is why we simply accept what we are seeing and don't accept it to be true for us. We just see it and go, okay, I see what you're showing me. However, for me, this is true. You are focusing on the solution of already having your thing as opposed to the crap that's being shown now. A further point to make on this is to stop creating excuses for why they can't come in. I've coached a numerous amount of clients now, and a big chunk of them will say, I feel like they want something different now. I feel like they are more interested in seeing their friends. I feel like they have more time, that they don't have enough time for me. You are creating excuses for why they can't come in before you have even given it a chance to bring them in. In your reality, no one has free will. As long as you are embodying the state of already having your desire, things will come into place to get you to that point. However, if you are creating your own blocks, then these blocks will play out. You are creating circumstances based on your own assumptions. You are saying they don't have time for me, or they'd rather see their friends, or they're into something else sexually, or anything along those lines. You are creating these circumstances before they've even fully played out and to actually show you that they exist. Again, if they have said something along those lines, this is all old story. This is all old thoughts, old assumptions that you may have had now playing out. Stop creating circumstances that stop you from getting your thing. Circumstances do not matter. If you can assume a circumstance to be the case to stop you getting your manifestation, why can't you assume that circumstances are in place to help you get your manifestation? Neither of them at that current, in this physical moment, neither of them are true. There is nothing to say that they absolutely don't want you because of XYZ, and there is nothing to say that they absolutely do want you because of XYZ. So why are you choosing the negative option? You should be choosing every single thing in this reality to be working out for you and to be working out in your favor. So create the assumption that nothing can stop them from wanting you. Instead of creating the assumption of they don't have time for me, they don't have this, they don't have that. Because again, that is all your old self-concept or now current self-concept playing out. You don't feel like they prioritize you. You don't feel like you're enough sexually. You don't feel like you're enough in their friends, you know? So why not build up the self-concept and drop any circumstance that can stop you from getting that as an assumption. The reason I use those examples is because those are some that I've actually heard in my client coaching sessions. But stop letting these circumstances be the reason that you can't manifest your specific person, because you are the one creating them. I've said it, Joey said it, Kimberly has said it, Manifest with Kimberly said it. Circumstances do not matter. I think that's probably one of the most common sentences, that circumstances do not matter. So why are you coming to us with circumstances that you have made up? Stop putting obstacles in your own way. A further point to letting go of the 3D is, I understand that a lot of you want to check their social medias or want to reach out, or your birthday's coming up and you want them to spend the day with you, or you want to spend the day with them for their birthday. I understand that in your conscious mind, you want to continue things in a linear standpoint. If I was with them, why wouldn't I reach out? If I was with them, why wouldn't we share our birthdays? All of those kind of things. I completely understand the want to do that. However, operating like that can come from the state of lack. It can come proving that you are not in the state of your wish fulfilled. Because if you were, then you wouldn't need to reach out in order to have this. You would just know that it's happening, that it's coming, blah, blah, blah. You would trust that they will reach out to you or things will align to get you there. So on top of letting go of the 3D, the thing that you also need to do is to let go of the idea that you have to do all the physical work in the 3D to get what you want. Sometimes inspired action does happen and you will just reach out on your own accord. You won't even think about it, or something will come up and you'll have to say so. Sometimes that does happen. However, a lot of the time people pretend it's inspired action, but in actuality it's coming from desperation and you're trying to make an excuse as to why you did do it or why you should do it. I honestly recommend to never reach out unless you absolutely are pulled to and there is nothing else saying that, like, there is no desperation behind it or anything like that, because I can't argue with inspired action and I'm not even going to try to. But a lot of the time people don't have inspired action to reach out. So let them reach out to you. And then you'll say, but I want them, like, I want to hear from them. I want them to know that I miss them. I want them to know that this, that, and the other. I want their birthday. Give yourself that experience within your mind. This is the whole point of living in the end. This is the whole point of affirmations, of visualizations, scripting, embodying the state. The whole point of them is to give yourself that experience now so that it can play out in the future. Because remember, your inner world is what creates the outer world. Your outer world reflects what is inside. Which means if you want the outer world to conform, you must first conform within. And if you are in the state of, I just want to hear from them, I just want to message them, I just want them to message me, then your inner world is saying, I don't have this, I need to do something to get it. That is going to push out, and your outer world, 9 times out of 10, is going to show you that you are not in the state of the wish fulfilled. It's going to show you an undesired reality, unless, of course, it is inspired. So if you want to check their accounts, if you want to message them, if you want to do anything like that, in the technique that you enjoy, give yourself that experience. Like I said in the last version of this video, if you want to check their account to see if they changed their profile photo, why not go to your imagination and visualize them changing their profile photo to one of you and them? Why not affirm that it was amazing to hear from them on your birthday? Why not script how you had such an amazing day together on Valentine's Day or whatever? Give yourself that experience. I know it may not feel as fulfilling in the moment, but giving yourself the experience, even if it isn't as good as the experience if they were to give it to you, is going to get you not only closer to your goal, but it's also going to stop you having things come up in your 3D that are going to trigger you. This then leads me on to triggers. Most people will get triggered if their specific person says that they're online right now, or if their account says they're online right now, but they're not messaging you, or if their snap score goes up, or anything along those lines. If you are triggered by things that you can control and remove them. I know some of you might argue, if I was with this person, I wouldn't remove them from my Snapchat. That is true, and I understand the premise behind that. However, being triggered by things is the reason that you got to where you are. Dwelling in things that are undesirable is the reason why you are now watching this video. So remove the things that create an undesirable circumstance for you. Your subconscious mind isn't going to care if you delete someone off of Snapchat, but it stops you from reacting once every other couple of days. If you are able to stop the reactions, to stop the dwelling in the 3D, and to put that effort into dwelling in the new story, that is going to come in. That is going to help your manifestation come in, as opposed to seeing them on your Snapchat, not deleting them because you didn't want to confuse your subconscious, but then reacting every time they posted a photo and a bunch of guys or girls like it. Those reactions are going to show your subconscious mind the state that you're in much more than simply just removing any triggers that you may have. So if you can control the trigger, remove it to the best of your ability. For those of you who are like, I just want to text, I just want to date, I just want them to tell me that the third party's gone, I just want all of these things, manifesting in steps is not a very effective way to manifest at all. The reason being is, think of your manifestation as a seed. You plant the seed and that seed grows in its own time. If your seed is a text seed, that seed will grow, but that seed might not necessarily go any further than a text. If your seed is a date seed, you might get the date, but that doesn't mean you get the relationship. You must then put your effort again on focusing on the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And by the time all of these little individual seeds have grown, you might be a lot further along in terms of time than just focusing on the end. Let's say, for example, you've got this seed which takes 2 weeks, this seed which takes 3, that's 5 weeks, this seed that takes 5 weeks, this seed that takes 6 weeks, so what's that, 16 weeks, and this seed that takes 4 weeks. This is 20 weeks worth of seeds, because one's happened and then you're like, okay, so this is the text, I got the text, now I need the date, you got the date, then you wanted the spending the night together, then you wanted seeing each other more regularly, and then you wanted the relationship. That's the way that you chose to do it. This is 20 weeks worth of manifestation journey, essentially. Whereas if you had just this one seed of, I am in this situation now, this seed is getting me to my end result, this seed might only take 16 weeks. I'm not obviously saying that things do take less or more time than that, like a text might not take that long. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is doing it in 5 individual steps from a law of assumption, universe making it happen, seeds growing kind of standpoint might just take longer for you than just doing a beginning to end seed. Focusing on the end result means that not only could there be the potential that you aren't waiting so long for it to come in, possibly, I'm not going to say that that will or won't happen, but by impressing that seed, you know that that will happen. By impressing text and a date and then so on and so forth, you have to try and wait for each one of these things to happen, for your manifestation to happen, which means you might take even longer to get there. And because you are doing it in steps, it's probably going to be more triggering for you. Because if you get the text saying like, hey, how you been? But then nothing more comes from that, while you're trying to manifest that date, you're probably going to be like, oh, I need more text, I need more text, I need more text, I need more communication, which means you're not actually moving on to the next step because you're so focused on the first step or trying to replicate the first step. Whereas if you just say, my end result is being together, I will let it happen how it happens, you will get that loving communication as part of your bridge of incidents. You will get that date as part of your bridge of incidents. You will get them seeing you more regularly as part of that bridge of incidents. This is just one bridge. This is 5 potential bridges that, because you've got the text, but then they don't text you again, you're probably going to continue trying to get the text, which means you're just going over the same bridge over and over and over again, taking longer to get to the end result. Manifesting in steps is not very effective, and 9 times out of 10 can keep you more stuck because you are triggered over the fact that they text you once. Why is it taking so long for them to text me again? I had a client say this exact same thing where last year when they tried to manifest their specific person, they got communication within, I think it was like a couple of weeks. But then this time round, it's taken like 5-6 weeks and still nothing. And they're like, well, it worked this time, it worked this quickly last time. Why is it not happening now? I might have got the numbers wrong there, but that is essentially what we're saying. The reason being is because they expect it to happen in the same period of time before. And now that it hasn't happened, they're getting triggered. And because you get what you are, they are triggered that they don't have a text. So they are receiving more not having texts to get triggered by. So you see how manifesting in steps is fruitless, entirely fruitless. Choose your end result and dedicate yourself to that. And if you must, absolutely must manifest communication, manifest it from the end result of already having them. XYZ is my partner, so of course we text all the time. I'm in loving communication with my partner, so on and so forth. Stop just trying to say, SP texts me, SP always texts me. Because you're just focusing on the first step. And if that doesn't happen, you get triggered. And if it does happen, but the next step doesn't, you get triggered. So just go straight to the end result. Right, so now that we've gone through a big old list of things that you need to keep in mind when trying to manifest your specific person, here is the sort of general step-by-step process on how to do it. So the first step is you must get clear on what it is that you want. What kind of relationship you want with them, what kind of dynamic, all that kind of stuff, the things that you would enjoy doing with them, the things that you maybe don't necessarily want to happen as often. Get clear on what it is that you want. Then ask yourself, how would I think, feel, and act if I had my desire? Create a list of thoughts that you would think, actions that you would supposedly take without reaching too much into the 3D, and feelings that you would experience in this dynamic. Then, as you go through your day, think from that end, feel from that end, and do general actions here and then that would imply that you have your end result. All while doing this, make sure to maintain the state as best you can that you are in your new scenario and you are no longer a part of the old one. Anything that they said or did is all in the past and has all been let go. Revise it if you want to. However, that's not entirely necessary if you are able to plant your focus on the end result more than the current or old result. If you are in need of techniques, the thoughts and feelings and actions that you would take, so when you ask yourself, how would I think, feel, and act if I had my desire, turn those things into affirmations. For example, if you would think, wow, I'm so lucky to have this person, like if that's the kind of thing, or if you would think, look at them and feel happy, make those into affirmations or scripts or visualizations. Affirmations, it could be, I feel so happy to be with my person, or every time I look at my person, I feel so much joy to be with them. If it's a script, you could just script stuff like, my person makes me feel so amazing. It feels amazing to be able to say that I'm in such a loving relationship. If it's visualizations, you could visualize the two of you together and visualize yourself looking at them and thinking, wow, they're so amazing. I'm so happy to be with them. If it's in a conversations, you could hear them saying, isn't it amazing that we're together and we're better than ever? Or you could hear like you saying to them, I love being with you, I love you, and then returning the I love you, anything like that. Turn your thoughts, feelings, and actions from the first question into techniques that you would like to use when you struggle to think, feel, and act from the end. Then you can do your techniques to replace those things. But remember, techniques only get you into the state. They don't necessarily keep you there. It is the rest of how you go about your day, thinking, feeling, and acting that determines what kind of state that you are in. When things come up in the 3D, because everything that you're experiencing now is a reflection of old thoughts, there might possibly be examples where things show up that are undesirable despite the fact that you've changed your state, because they might be manifestations from the past. If these things are to come up, your only job is to look at them without judgment, simply say, I see what you are showing me. However, this is not the case because I am in, and then list out whatever kind of relationship that you are in, or say who you are with, or anything like whatever it is that you are trying to manifest in with your person. Anything that shows up doesn't necessarily mean that you are doing the wrong thing. It just means that some old thoughts and assumptions might be playing out now. The more that you are able to look at them without judgment and say that that is not the case and not react to them, the less you are going to recreate. If you look at them and react to them, you are planting more seeds of, this is what my experience is, thus pushing out more of it. I know it's difficult, but if you are able to look at them without judgment, don't react to them, and just choose your new reality, choose the solution, you will have less negative to have to react to, or have to stop yourself from reacting to, So, 3D circumstance, ignore. Go straight to the end with your result. Don't try to manifest in steps. And finally, persist until it hardens into fact. You keep doing this until you get your result. Some things might come fast, some things might not come so fast. Your only job is to continue persisting until your result comes in. If you start questioning and wondering where it is and all that kind of stuff, you are falling out of the state of the wish fulfilled. That is not the end of the world, because circumstances don't matter, and you can get yourself back into the state by asking yourself, how would I think, feel, and act, and then operating from those answers. But the less you are able, the more you are able to avoid asking where it is or checking for answers or anything like that, the more that you are embodying the state, the more likely you are for your manifestation to come in sooner. The fastest way to, or the best way to speed up a manifestation is to simply manifest it in. To simply discipline yourself and dedicate yourself to the new story. There is no quick fire way of speeding it up, but there is a way to stop it from taking longer, if that makes sense. So persist in your new identity. Persist in the knowing that you are that which you want to be and you have that which you want to have. That is the step-by-step process on how to manifest your specific person. You were probably thinking there was going to be a lot more to it, but it is genuinely that simple of, this is my relationship that I am embodying now until it comes in. And you operate from that until it comes in. I really hope this video has helped. I know it's going to be a little bit longer than usual. I really hope you guys can take a lot from it. If you have enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.